Welcome to days 1, 2 and 3 of the 15-day Nagoya Basho, the Grand Sumo tournament from Japan. My name is Sid Ho. Nagoya is always a difficult tournament. It's extremely humid here, both inside and outside the venue, and many rikishi either catch colds or get knocked flat by the heat, the so-called Nagoya syndrome. The records show that this tournament has had the greatest number of wins by lower-ranking wrestlers. And so we must expect the unexpected. The ring surfaces also tends to be a bit slippery in the heat, and that can upset predictions. The three Yokozuna are favourites, but there are niggling doubts about their condition. Of the three, Yokozuna, Akebono is looking the strongest. There he is on the right. Kai-O, who won the last Basho, is gunning for promotion to Ozeki, and Miyabiyama, who just managed to get promoted to Ozeki, must prove his worth. There were some doubts about whether he was up to the rank of Ozeki. Apart from these veterans, there is a lot of interest in a new trio that's just moved up into the Makuuchi division. That's Aminishiki, Takami Sakari, and Sento Ryu. Sento Ryu, an American sumo wrestler from the mainland, not from the Pacific Islands, and he's been in sumo some time, but now moved up into the Makuuchi division. So there we see the Banzuke there, the ranking list at the bottom: Sento Ryu, Aminishiki, Ogiyama and Kinkayama. So let's see how our giant heroes make out in this Nagoya Basho. First bout of the day, and it's a full house, and the bout is between Hamanoshima and Daizen. These two have fought 7 times previously. Hamanoshima's won 5 of them. Hamanoshima on the right there is 35 years old. Hamanoshima, 30 years old, and there Hamanoshima gets dropped down with the overarm push down, Uwate Dashinagi, and Daizen, somewhat of a training fiend, does a lot of training, although it doesn't affect his rankings that much, takes his first win. Next bout, Chio Tenzan, who's got a bit of a right leg injury. In fact, both of these two have. Minato Fuji there, 170 kilos. Full start there. Referees are tightening up a bit this tournament. Tends to go in swings and roundabouts, this. Oh, well there, Minato Fuji misread that one. He thought it was Mata, that's a stop. But in fact, he slackened off and got shoved out by Chio Tenzan and lost the bout. Bit of carelessness there by that wrestler. Now, Kyokushuzan fights Takatoriki. These two have fought 13 times. Takatoriki's won 10 of them. So a very careful start here by both wrestlers. They've got to put their hands down, both hands. They've got to pause and then they take off. Well, one hand went down, but the Gyoji there, the referee, objecting to that start. There's exactly the same start again, no difference from the first one, but the referee didn't pick it up. Takatoriki there, shoving Kyokushuzan out with Oshidashi. So force out, push out rather, by Takatoriki against Kyokushuzan. He's not doing too well, only scored 5 wins in his last 2 Basho, and 10 losses each time. Kotonowaka, his knee is getting a bit better, on here with Kyoku Tenho from Mongolia. Kyoku Tenho also got a brother in the Jonidan division. That's second division up from the bottom. Kyoku Tenho there, locking in tight. Looks as though he had Kotonowaka there on the edge, tries a hook behind, and there gets the Kirikaishi position. That's the leg behind Kotonowaka's leg, his injured leg, and forces him out with Yorikiri. Tenho turned in a 7-8 performance last time. Time before that, did pretty badly, only 4 wins and 11 losses. Now Kai-Ho faces Kotoryu. These two have fought 7 times. Kotoryu's won 5 of them. Kotoryu leading with the head there, drops his head down, drives it into Kai-Ho's face. Neat turn there by Kotoryu. And then it's touch and go there. Kai-Ho gets it, I think. And Kotoryu there, looks as though he hurt himself a bit badly on that crash down. Two bodies went down together. And Kaiho gets the referee's decision, the Gyoji's decision. And first win for Kaiho. So Kotoryu limping a bit there. Be interesting to see how he fares tomorrow, whether it's serious or not. Hayate Yumi faces Higonumi. Both of these wrestlers are ex-amateur champions, both from the same amateur stable, which is Nichidai. There are probably more Nichidai wrestlers in this top division than from any other single source. There, Higonumi shoves his ex-collegiate sumo dohai, as they say in Japanese, that's contemporary I suppose, out with Oshi Taoshi. So first win there for Higonumi. Oginishiki from the Dewanoumi stable, 137 kilos, bit on the light side, just about 21 stone. Fights Wakanoyama at about 25 stone. Wakanoyama on the right there, comes out fast, drops his head, and Oginishiki pushing back. Wakanoyama recovering from the initial surge. Wakanoyama looking for the front of the belt there, but then gets a two-handed shove just on Oginishiki when he was slightly off balance there, and that was enough to send him flying out of the dohyo, the circle. These two had only fought once before, and that was when Oginishiki won the bout. So that's evened it up a bit. Now, great crowd pleaser, Asanowaka fights Tochino Nado. You can hear the crowd laughing there. He's, as we know, his actions going into the ring are always much appreciated by the Japanese fans. And here fighting Tochino Nado on the left. Now that was neat. Came out, two hands to the chest, and then just pulled forward. Tochino Nado braced against Asanowaka's tachiai, the charging start, then he got pulled forward. So neat win there by Asanowaka. Now Kaio, and who won the last tournament, fights newcomer, up-and-coming newcomer, Takanowaka. These two have fought once before, and Kaio won that time. Kaio at 172 kilos, that's just under 27 stone. Takanowaka just under 140 kilos, just under 22 stone. So quite a weight difference between them, but Kaio's on a bit of a roll. Premature start there by Takanowaka. Sumo authorities constantly going on about this tachiai starts, but the wrestlers more or less ignore the rules. From what I can see, they do it as they've always done it. And Takanowaka there bounces off Kaio on the first slam, and then as he comes in again, Kaio just pulls him down, drop throws him with Skiyotoshi. Takanowaka is, let's watch this one again. So there we see, there's the first slam, and then on the second one, that's when Kaio just comes out of the way, moves out the way, and Takanowaka drops down to the floor. So very neatly done. Kaio certainly looking a change man these days. The last Basho he did extremely well, as we know, won the tournament. Now Mr. Sideburns, Momiagi, as they call him in Japanese, never trims them at all, just lets them grow. Fights Musoyama. These two have fought 4 times and each has won twice. Musoyama got a bit of a back injury. Set out the last tournament, shouldn't really have come back this one, but he's got to watch his rankings, so he's been forced to come back in. But there's a nice start by Musoyama, despite his lower back injury. And Toki getting shoved out there with Oshidashi. Toki, 26 years old, got married a month or so ago. Let's watch that one again. So Musoyama comes out, leads with a head, bit of a slowish start, but fast enough to keep driving Toki backwards. Toki eventually recovers, comes driving forward, and then tries a slap down on the back of Musoyama's head, but eventually there you can see his balance going on the edge, and Toki rides over the edge from an Oshidashi push by Musoyama. Climbing up the ranks now, Dejima. Ozeki ranked Dejima, fighting newcomer Tochinohana. Man who took 2 tournament prizes last time, who took notched up a 12-win, 3-loss performance last Basho and collected 2 tournament prizes. Good wrestler. And Dejima there, almost lost it, recovers. And there you see some fine gaburi there. That's the gut thrust on the edge. He had Tochinohana balanced on the edge, and a couple of thrusts from the stomach sent Tochinohana over the edge. So an Oshidashi win there by Dejima. Dejima didn't do so well his last Basho, only had 8 wins against 7 losses. Now Miyabiyama coming into the ring. Just got promoted. This is his first tournament as Ozeki. There was some opposition to his promotion. There were 3 votes against. Nevertheless, he got it by majority, but he's got to prove himself this tournament. He's got to win well as Ozeki. So the pressure's on him. Let's see how we'll see how he shapes up under this pressure. Here against Tochi Azuma, who's a very tough opponent. Very experienced, strong, very technical. And Tochi Azuma there absorbs the initial shock of Miyabiyama's Tachiai. And hanging on in there. Pushing hard, and there's a nice push by Tochi Azuma. It's a good start for Tochi Azuma, not such a good one for Miyabiyama, but on day 1, they put these interesting matches in to please the crowd. So a tough one for Miyabiyama to start with as a new Ozeki. And let's first win there for Tochi Azuma. So very interesting bout there, touch and go a little bit. Miyabiyama coming out with those non-stop thrusts to Tochi Azuma's face and head, but then starts to lose it and then gets slapped down. So Tsukiya Toshi win there by Tochi Azuma. Now Chio Taikai, Ozeki, Eastern Ozeki. Ozeki meaning the grand, big barrier, fights Takanonami. Takanonami, who's been dropped down from the Ozeki position, man who's won 2 tournaments in the past. Chio Taikai's won 1 tournament. Weight-wise, not much to choose between them. Takanonami about 8 kilos, stone or so heavier than Chio Taikai. Well, it looks like this Tachiai starts causing some problems for the wrestlers. Slightly slow start there by Chio Taikai, who looks as though he's relaxing a bit there, but finally comes back. See his feet skidding away there. And that's it, Takanonami gets it. Chio Taikai's feet skidded away. Well, I said it's a slippery surface here. Maybe the type of sand they use in this venue. Maybe it's a combination of that and the heat, but it's always slippery here in Nagoya. So Takanonami wins that one. His last 2 tournaments, he had Makikoshi, that's more losses than wins. That dropped him down from Ozeki. So he will be hoping to go up again, but he's probably on the downward slope now. Now, Masashi Maru. Well, his weight went up to about 230 kilos. That's, what's that, just over 36 stone. And that's affected his knees. Well, he had a bad wrist injury as well, but his knees now are giving him some troubles. Here on against Akinoshima, who comes out like a rocket, but a full start. So, Teotsute says the Gyoji, that means get your hands down. Both hands have got to go down and pause briefly before they start. But there Masashi Maru shoving Akinoshima out without too much trouble. So will Masashi Maru be back on form this tournament? Is that the last one out? So rarely does that he said that it felt really strange coming back. He's not used to sitting tournaments out. Now, Takanohana, Tamakasuga. These two have fought 19 times, 20 times. Takanohana's won 16 of them. And Takanohana hasn't won a tournament since the autumn tournament of 98. Tamakasuga's on a bit of a roll. He's back up to Komusubi rank, so leads with a head, drives his head into Takanohana's chest. Takanohana there not looking for the belt, unusually. 2 arms wrapped round Tamakasuga's body, and an ordinary Yorikiri force out from the grand champion. So last tournament, Takanohana scored 13 wins and 2 losses. Been doing very well over the last 3 or more Bashos, but hasn't been able to get the Yusho, the tournament win. Now, Akebono, another grand champion who hasn't had a tournament win since 3 years ago, 3 years, July 97. So Akebono here against Hosonoumi. These two have fought 16 times. Akebono has won 12 of them. So let's see how the big man doing. Of the 3 Yokozuna, he's looking the strongest. I would say there's a powerful start by the Yokozuna. Looks unruffled there. Certainly his mental, the stability of his lower body has got much better. And also his mental attitude. He's looks more comfortable in the ring. So first win there for Akebono and a loss for Hosonoumi. So the end of day 1, we got Akebono with a win, Takanohana with a win, Musashi Maru, all 3 Yokozuna winning. 2 of the Ozeki lose, that's Chio Taikai and Miyamayama. Stay with us, we'll be back after the break. Hello and welcome back to day 2 of the Nagoya Basho. We saw all 3 Yokozuna winning on day 1 of the 4 Ozeki, 2 won and 2 lost. So very early to make any predictions on the form of the top ranking wrestlers, the wrestlers from the Joijin, that's the top group. Here Takanohana doing his ring entering ceremony, flanked by the Tsuyu Harai and the Tachimochi, 2 wrestlers from his own stable who assist him in his ring entering ceremony. Now let's get on to the wrestling, the sumo. First bout between Hamanoshima, who is now Maegashira 10, was once up at Komusubi rank, and here fighting Chio Tenzan. These 2 have fought 3 times before. Hamanoshima has won 2 of them. But Hamanoshima last tournament only managed to get 3 wins. So like a lot of these wrestlers, dogged with injuries. And there Chio Tenzan driving Hamanoshima back to the edge and shoves him out with a push. Oshidashi win there for Chio Tenzan. Hamanoshima has only got 1 tournament prize to his credit, and that he got here in Nagoya in '94. So been around the block a few times, sumo-wise. Now on to the next bout. Minato Fuji from the Minato stable fights Daizen from the Nisho no Seki stable. Slowish start there. Wrestlers didn't seem to know whether they were going to go for the bell or slap and push. Daizen there eventually pushing out Minato Fuji with Oshidashi. A messy bout there. And second win for Daizen, second loss for Minato Fuji. Kyokushuzan, the Mongolian, always does, in the past, has always done well in Nagoya. He's had Kachikoshi, that's more wins and losses, in the past 5 Nagoya Basho that he's... well, we expect that from him, the Yaso Tobi. That's his, Mainaumi used to do it. Mainaumi's retired, and Kyokushuzan's inherited that technique from him, but there he got caught out perfectly by Kotonowaka, who caught him in mid-air and just shoved him down. So first win for Kotonowaka and second loss for Kyokushuzan. Kyokutenho, another Mongolian, who's got a brother in Kyokudozan, also in Pro Sumo. They're driving Takatoriki down with a leg grab, Watashi Komi. Slightly rare technique, but we expect some of these leg grabs from the Mongolian wrestlers. Mongolian wrestling not that similar really to sumo. They do fight on earth and surface, but they don't win by shoving the other one out of the circle. It's mainly throws, trips that win them the bout. Now Kaiho, both of these wrestlers, Hayata Yumi the other one, both from Nichidai. And Kaiho there looked like he had Hayata Yumi on the run, but couldn't quite hang on in there. Hayata Yumi gets the referee's nod. And first loss for Kaiho. Now Kotoryu fights Higanoumi. We saw Kotoryu in a bit of a nasty fall yesterday. Looks like he hurt his knee. You can see it well taped up there, left side. Referee objecting to the start. So you can see Kotoryu having trouble squatting down. Comes out fast. Both wrestlers lock in the middle there into the belt sumo, the Yotsu sumo. That's 4 hands on. And a bit of a leg hook there, nicely judged move by Kotoryu there as Higanoumi started the lifting surge. Kotoryu swung his leg round behind. Sotogake, technique called, a bit like judo, and dropped Higanoumi down. I've seen a few slightly unusual techniques so far. This is the Aichi Prefectural Gymnasium, which always hosts the Nagoya Sumo. Now, Ogi Nishiki, 137 kilos, fights Tochino Nada, some 30 kilos heavier. These two have fought 5 times. Ogi Nishiki's won 3 of them. Ogi Nishiki there loses out on the initial slam, the Atari, but recovers neatly, and there's, well, that's an interesting win there. He's spun Tochino Nada off his feet. A very definite twisting throw there, and hineri, as they say in sumo, overarm hineri. So we're seeing a run of slightly unusual techniques, this Basho. Asanowaka, who's graduated from an extravagant mass of salt being thrown into the ring to a mere trickle, fighting Wakanoyama. Asanowaka, a local lad, tries to pull Wakanoyama's head down there on the tachiai, but not succeeding. Keeps on trying that, push and a pull. But Asanowaka's most tricky at the very start. He normally comes out, crashes in, and then moves sideways. But after that, not quite so good. Wakanoyama winning there with a push out, Oshidashi push out, after a little bit of toing and froing from Asanowaka. It's Kaio there, and Musoyama getting ready for their bout. This next bout, Tochiazuma and Takawaka. Tochiazuma just under 150 kilos, that's just under 24 stone. Takawaka, fairly light, 21 stone. Both wrestlers lowering the head at the slam there, but Takawaka getting a bit frantic as Tochiazuma drives forward. Very skillful wrestler, Tochiazuma. He's got a lot of technique, could be a bit bigger, I suppose, but very capable, doesn't carry a lot of fat on him. His body is quite heavily muscled, under a slight layer of fat there. But he's the son of Anoya Kata. He's a stable boss. He's been in sumo since he's knee-high. It's in his bones. Now, Toki fighting Chio Taikai. These two have fought 4 times. Chio Taikai's won 4 of them. Toki, a rough fighter, but not much more to his sumo other than that initial roughness. Chio Taikai, more powerful and more focused there. 2 hands to Toki's chest and a straight push forwards to shove Toki out. Almost like a train on tracks there for Toki. So 5 straight wins in their personal head-to-heads for Chio Taikai. Now this is going to be a good one. Kaio fights Musoyama. These two have fought 30 times previously. Fairly evenly balanced. Kaio's won 16 of them. Kaio, winner of the last tournament, heavy drinker. But then, of course, a lot of these sumo men drink like fishes. It's expected of them when they go to banquets and when they're hosted out, taken to parties by rich patrons. They're expected to keep drinking. There's a full glass in front of them. So, interesting start there. Musoyama. And we know he's got a bit of a bad back. Well, this is where it'll get tested. And Kaio there, overwhelmingly powerful. Doesn't look stressed at all. So I think it's going to be a strong Kaio this tournament. They say there are two Kaios, a weak Kaio and a strong Kaio, and he's either one or the other. So let's watch that one again. Comes out, takes his head sideways, throws his left shoulder in to Musayama's face. Both wrestlers avoiding the head clash there. And Musayama really being driven by the forward foot movements of Kaio and that tight grip round on the belt. 2 straight wins for Kaio and the first loss for Musayama. Now Dejima fights Tamaka Suga. These two have had 12 head-to-heads before. Dejima's won 8 of them. Dejima not so good in the last tournaments, only had 8 wins. Not so good in training before this tournament either. But a good start there. There's the Dayashi, that's the forward foot movements. Got stopped briefly, but then second wind carried on and drove Tamaka Suga out. So that's 2 wins for the Ozeki, 2 straight wins and 2 losses for Tamaka Suga. Dejima not really turning in Ozeki performances, but he's not getting Makikoshi, so he'll keep his rank until he manages to do 2 Makikoshi in a row. It's 2 tournaments with more losses than wins. Now, Akinoshima against Miyabiyama. These two have fought 7 times previously. Miyabiyama's won 4 of them. So Akinoshima absorbs the initial charge, then gets his hand on. Very neatly done there by Akinoshima. This is the man who's won 19 tournament prizes. That means he's had 19 really good tournaments. Now that's 2 losses now for Miyabiyama. The pressure's on him. And that's the first win for Akinoshima. So Miyabiyama not looking too happy about that loss. Let's watch this one again. Akinoshima sidestepping almost immediately there. Moving, there he gets that overarm grip on there. Turns sideways and then just pushes slightly to the side, Owate Dashinagi. And Miyabiyama not looking at all happy there. So 2 losses for the Ozeki. Now Akibono against Takano Nami. These two have fought 36 times in their long careers. Both came into this top division around the 1990s. Akibono in 1990, Takano Nami in 91. It's a lot of tournaments, a lot of times they've met each other. But Akibono's won most of them. And it's looking like another one. Yep, that's Takano Nami, pretty easily disposed of by the Yokozuna. Akibono's wife gave birth to his second child. He's got 1 boy, 1 girl. Seems to have stabilised him a bit. A married life. He's got responsibilities. Got to think of providing for his kids. Now Masashi Maru, bachelor Yokozuna, unlike the other 2. And here fighting Tosono Umi. He's still fought 21 times, yes. Masashi Maru's won 17 of them, but he's got a dodgy wrist. And he's also got a bad knee. So, well, that was a full start there, but Masashi Maru looked half asleep. Tosono Umi came out hard and fast, and he comes out hard and fast again. You can see from the start lines that it was Tosono Umi who came forward. Masashi Maru just standing there, absorbing it, and he loses it. Complacent loss there by the grand champion, Masashi Maru. It looked like Masashi Maru thought he had Tosono Umi on the run there. Now is this, looks like one of the judges has put in an objection. No, Tosono Umi gets it. So that's the first loss for Masashi Maru. So, Hikake win there by Tosono Umi. Another rare technique. Let's watch that one again. Comes out, lowers the head, drives it in. Comes in again, keeps pushing now. Masashi Maru starts the power surge. Tosono Umi not looking too happy on that. But all these big guys are really big guys. The 36 stoners are vulnerable to the side slip, the side step. And there you see the beginning of it. And there, yeah, he lost it there. Goes out over the edge as Tosanumi turns slightly to one side and assists Musashi Maru past him. Now, concluding bout of day 2, third of the Yokozunas. Takanohana became a Yokozuna in the January Basho of 1995. Here fighting newcomer, only in his second Makuuchi Basho, Tochinohana. He's still never fought before, so a novel experience for Tochinohana. He's locking in tight, but it's not a good idea to lock in tight on Takanohana. Takanohana trying to get the grip there, but he's been denied that grip by Tochinohana. And Tochinohana doing a well, that was touch and go there. Looked like Tochinohana was successfully stopping Takanohana's grip, but just at the end there, that Takanohana managed to spin him over. So that was touch and go for the Grand Champion. Having great troubles there getting one of his hands on Tochinohana's belt. So let's watch that one again. You can see that left arm of Takanohana trying to get the belt, but Tochinohana's denying him that grip, tries to get on the inside. Bit of a dodgy move, but eventually spins him over with a Watenagi. So at the end of day 2, Takanohana and Akebono with 2 straight wins, Musashi Maru with 1 loss, and Miyabayama with 2 losses, Dejima with 2 wins, and the other Ozekis, Chirotaika and Musoyama with 1 win and 1 loss apiece. But stay with us, we'll be back very shortly with more sumo. To day 3 of the Nagoya Basho. Musashi Maru here. Picked up a loss yesterday, alone in among the Yokozuna group with a loss. The other 2, Takanohana and Akebono, with 2 wins apiece. He's put on a bit of weight recently. He's the heaviest of the wrestlers. Touch and go between him and Akebono, both about 230 kilos. That's 36 stone. And his extra weight has apparently affected his knees. Into our first bout of day 3 between Chio Tenzan from the Kokonoe stable, the stable of the great Shonafuji, and Otsukasa from the Urumagawa stable. So full start there by Chio Tenzan in his silvery grey mawashi. Chio Tenzan, known in the sumo world as Hachikun. Pushing in against Otsukasa, but eventually turns tables on him and manages to shove him out with Oshidashi. Otsukasa, short wrestler, quite heavy, just under 150 kilos, but only about 5'9". Kyokushiozan, been on a downward slope the last few bashos. Here fighting newcomer, Takami Sakari. Her father is a farmer. Well, that was a nice start there. Pull down there by Takami Sakari. This is his first Makuuchi Basho. He comes from the Azumazeki stable, which means that now he can help Akebono in his Yokozuna ring entering ceremony. Previously didn't have a wrestler ranked high enough to do that. Now Kyokuten Ho against Daizen. Daizen, 35 years old. Kyokuten Ho, some 10 years younger. These two have fought once before, and that was when Daizen won. Well, let's level it up a bit. Kyokuten Ho now with 3 straight wins. Previous tournaments he had 7 wins and 8 losses. One before that 4 wins and 11 losses. So hopefully he'll be looking for an improvement in his win-loss record this tournament. Now Takato Riki, and with 1 tournament win under his belt a couple of bashos ago, fights Higono Umi. They fought 17 times. Takato Riki's won 13 of them. Takato Riki, the man with the meanest slaps in sumo. But a few slaps there from Takato Riki didn't do him much good. Higono Umi weathered the slaps and just pushed him straight out. So Takato Riki, 2 losses now. And a little bit of prize money, some Kensho money there for Higono Umi. Kotoryu against Wakanoyama. Kotoryu, otherwise known as Teshi in the sumo world, don't really have nicknames as such. Well, they are nicknames, but do not have a lot of meaning. based on their pre-sumo ordinary names quite often. So Wakanoyama there, chasing Kotoryu round the ring, who managing to survive all that. You can see his bad knee there, we saw him hurt it 2 days ago. And Kotoryu coming in hard there, surviving against Wakanoyama, eventually seems to run out of steam. And a win there for Kotoryu. 2 wins so far, 1 loss, and 3 straight losses, or rather first loss for Wakanoyama. Now, Oginishiki. 3 tournaments ago, he dropped down into the Juryo division, then he came back, got an 8-7 win Basho. 6-9 last time, not so good, but he's a competent wrestler, and he deserves to be in this division. There you see the measure of his skill. Got his knee behind Kotonowaka, Kirikaishi move, and just spun him over. Kotonowaka dumped quite decisively by that move. So second win for Oginishiki, second loss for Kotonowaka. Winning wrestler stays in the corner. Let's just watch that one again. Comes out, absorbs the shock, starts pulling backwards and turning as he does so. And then there's a pull down against Kotonowaka's belt. More pull downs, that's a bit destabilizing for the bigger wrestler. Then Kotonowaka's arm comes over. There you see the leg going behind. So the leg goes behind, and a little bit of a lift from the knee as well. And down goes big Kotonowaka. Next bout between Asanowaka and Kaiho. Kaiho, fisherman, or from a fishing family, which is one of the traditional sources of good, strong sumo wrestlers. Comes from the same town as Aminishiki, newcomer to this top division. There, Kaiho winning. It's Skiyatoshi, thrust drop against Asanowaka. Always looks sad, does Kaiho, whether he wins or loses, always seems to frown. I suppose if he won a tournament, he might see a smile on his face. Tochino Nada against Hayate Umi. Hayate Umi is from farming stock. It's the other source of strong sumo wrestlers, farmers and fishermen. But there you see Hayate Umi skidded on that surface. Makes the sumo very unpredictable, as you'd imagine. So Tochino Nada gaining a much needed win, and that's the Izoya Kata. Looking on severely. Now Kaio and Takanonami. Takanonami, who was once, or previous tournament, was an Ozeki. Been demoted down. Here's Kaio, who's looking for promotion to the rank that Takanonami was. And, wow, Takanonami making all the going there. Just locked on tight. A couple of pushes of the stomach, and that was enough to shove Kaio out. So that's interrupted his winning streak. And a little bit of prize money, Kensho, for Takanonami. So that was a Yorikiri win. Let's watch that one again. So 2 hands from Takanonami to the body. Kaio's staggering a little bit there, gets swung round and driven right to the edge. And then just forced over the edge. So it was a good twisting movement by Takanonami there on Kaio's push forward that that drove Kaio to the edge and then over. Tamakasuga from the Kataonami stable. One of 54 or so stables in sumo. Some of these stables have a lot of wrestlers in, as much as 35, some only have 2. And here fighting Miyabayama, who needs a win, desperately needs a win. He wants to convince everybody he's Ozeki material. Well, he certainly seems galvanized there into action. Big sigh of relief there from Miyabayama. Well, he needed that one. That's his first win. And he was certainly going hard there against Tamakasuga. He's always beaten Tamakasuga before. 5 previous head-to-heads, he's won all of them. But he came out fast and furious there, especially with those suppari, those whirlwind slaps to the face there, you can see them. And Tamakasuga couldn't withstand that throat thrust there. And a bit of elbow in the guts as well. So quite rough, really. And a win there for Miyabiyama. Miyabiyama's father's a businessman. And when Miyabiyama went, told his dad he was going into pro sumo, his dad said, well, I wanted you to inherit the business, but if you go into sumo, know this, that if you fail, there'll be no position in my company for you. It's one way only. Nice story, that one. So, Tosonoumi fights Chio Taikai. These two have fought 10 times. Chio Taikai's won 7 of them. And there, got the measure of Tosonoumi. Looked as though he almost overreached himself on the edge, could have skidded down. But Tosonoumi it was who skidded down from that straight double arm thrust of Chio Taikai's. So Oshi Taoshi win there, that's a push down. Oshidashi is a push out, Oshi Taoshi is a push down and out. So briefly there, like Takanohana was limping a bit as he's coming into the ring, getting ready for his match against Tochiazuma. That's going to be an interesting one. Now Takanowaka, got nice movements in the ring. It's not so heavy, he's only 137 kilos, that's just under 22 stone. Musoyama here at about 175 kilos, that's 27 stone, quite a big weight difference between them, but he's injured, as we know. So how will Takanowaka deal with the veteran? Well, Musoyama looking strong there. So far his back doesn't seem to be affecting him that badly. Musoyama's interesting. From the tachi-ai, when they slam into each other, he never goes sideways, he's always head-to-head, absolutely straightforward into the opponent. Takanowaka there, 3rd loss. Previous Basho he had Kachikoshi, that's 8 wins and 7 losses. But he's new, he's looking good. He'll be around for a bit, I predict. Now, Dejima and Toki. These two have fought 7 times. Dejima's won 6 of them. Dejima, 8 wins last Basho, and 7 losses. Not really Ozeki style. So full start there by Dejima. It's always interesting. They start one way, the referee stops them. Then they do another start. It's exactly the same as the first one, and the referee doesn't say a word. So that's interesting there. Toki almost slapped down Dejima. Ah, lovely combination there. Thrust to the throat, pulls down on the back of the head, more thrust to the throat, more pull downs on the back of the head, and eventually Toki got it. Dejima driven down to the clay, the earth, the sand of the dohyo, and Toki's first win. That was a good, nice rough bout, that one. Now, Tochiazuma fights Takanohana. They've had 17 head-to-heads before. Takanohana's won 13 of them. Tochiazuma's scored 8-8-9 in the last 3 tournaments. He's been doing well up in the Sanyaku divisions. That's just a rank or 2 down from the top. So he's been fighting all the grand champions and Ozekis before, consistently got Kachikoshi. Takanohana's done better than that. His wins are all around the 11, 12, 13 mark. Tochiazuma is just steadily getting better and better. He's only 23, very young sumo man. So Tochiazuma there, locks in tight, pushing hard. Almost turns Takanohana there, gets slightly sideways on, and that's it. Tochiazuma takes it. So Takanohana notching up his first loss. Very neatly played there. Takanohana looking a little bit complacent. Didn't seem to be in a terrible hurry to get his hand on Tochiazuma's belt. And Tochiazuma, after slamming in, managed to turn Takanohana's body slightly, and that was enough. Give him the angle and force Takanohana over the edge. So first loss for Takanohana. Let's watch this one again. So Tochiazuma drives the head into Takanohana's chest, then starts moving the grand champion around to the side a bit. You can see that movement. There's that push again, you see, shoves him sideways. There's another one, 3 times in a row now. Now he locks in tight behind. Now that push, that angled push there, extremely difficult for any sumo wrestler to counter. And that's enough for Tochi Azuma. Keeps it going and drives the grand champion down and out, Yori Taoshi. Now Akebono. 2 straight wins. Right, Akinoshima. These two have fought 35 times. Akebono's won 28 of them. But Akebono's been doing some secret training recently, or some new training. He's been doing a lot of skipping, boxing style training, which you wouldn't think terribly appropriate for his weight, but seems to feel it's done him good. So Akebono there, winning comfortably over Akinoshima with a Yori Kiri. Surprisingly enough, they do try different types of training, these sumo guys, but not many of them are into heavy weights, which you'd expect for these big fellas. They don't push very heavy weights at all. 1 or 2 of them do. So Akinoshima there, notching up his 2nd loss. And now the Musubiban, including bout of day 3 between Sashimaru, who lost rather carelessly yesterday, against newcomer Tochino Hano's 2 losses so far. Quite a lot of weight difference between these two, about 80 kilos, which is enormous weight difference. Tochino Hano's got speed on his side, of course, youth. Not so young, actually, compared. Sashimaru's 29, Tochino Hano's 27. That's a lot of experience from the grand champion there with the blue Mawashi. Tochino Hano trying hard, but he's fighting him body to body, weight to weight. Not necessarily the best way to do it, and a win there for Musashi Maru. Tochino Hano needs to sidestep these big guys, slam in hard, push, then pull forward, try and move to one side as they come out, spin them around a bit. So that's Musashi Maru with 2 wins and only 1 loss. And there you see at the end of day 3, Akebono with 3 straight wins, Takanohana and Musashi Maru with 2 wins and 1 loss. Dejima and Chio Taikai and Musoyama with 2 wins and 1 loss apiece, and Miyabayama, the other Ozeki, with 1 win and 2 losses. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll be back very soon with days 4, 5 and 6. This is Sid Hoare from Nagoya in Japan. Take care and sayonara. Hello and welcome to days 4, 5 and 6 of the 15-day Nagoya Sumo Basho from Japan. My name is Sid Hoare. One unusual feature of sumo is that the rikishi start themselves. They are allotted 4 minutes to do it, and mostly they go to time, repeating a complicated ritual. This tends to build up the tension, and eventually they crash forward into each other. The rules for this are simple. They have to touch their fists to the floor, harmonize their breathing, then move quickly off the mark. It sounds simple, but the sumo authorities are constantly criticizing the rikishi for their incorrect starts, and many of them are getting confused. There's more or less a common style of starting among the wrestlers. 1 fist down, then a quick start, occasionally 2 fists down, but the sumo bosses don't like it. In the distant past, the wrestlers had all the time in the world to start. According to the old records, they sometimes took an hour or more of posturing to get ready. Some are calling for the wrestlers to start on a referee's signal, which the amateur sumo people do in Japan, but the rikishi will resist this. Sumo fights hard to preserve its traditions in a modern world. Well, there's a good start from the tachi-ai. That's Takami Zakari absorbing the shock of Daizen's charge and then slapping him down with Skiatoshi. Interesting new fighter, Takami Zakari's got bad knees, as you can see, and he walks like Robocop, which is what the sumo guys call him in Japan. So Takami Sakari, the Robocop, slapping down Daizen for his 4th straight win. So a good debut for this new wrestler. Next fight, Minato Fuji. He was out of the last Basho because of a leg injury. Had 1 win so far. Kyokushuzan on the left, not doing too well. Got photographed recently taking some money in a Basho venue, and one of the magazines is saying he was being bribed. He's suing them. No doubt that's on his mind. He hasn't been doing too well recently. So there's the a bit of a standoff there, but closing in tight. Minato Fuji gets in round the body, and he keeps that rocking motion going. A bit like Kotonishiki there, and hustles Kyokushuzan out with Yorikiri. Now Kotonowaka against Takatoriki. These two have fought each other 36 times before. Takatoriki's won 19 of them. Both of them are married to Oyakata's daughters, which means they have a job waiting for them at the end of their career. It's also meant to be a good way of breeding sumo men. And so anyway, win there for Takatoriki. A nice slap down from Kotonowaka's charge. Now Kyokuten Ho, Mongolian wrestler from the Oshima stable. Same as Kyokudozan. And now against Chiyo Tenzan from the Kokonoe stable. The Chiyo in the name giving the game away. That's the starting name of the great Chiyo Fuji, who now is the stable boss. Quick change of grips there from Kyokuten Ho. Gets two arms on the inside. That's the Morozashi hold. It's a strong hold. And there he hustles Chiyo Tenzan, or Kyokuten Ho, out with that double underarm grip. Third win for Chiyo Tenzan, and the first loss for Mongolian Kyokuten Ho. Kotoryu hanging on in there after his badly injured knee on day one. A lot of wrestlers so far got taped up knees. Here fighting Hayate Yumi in his third Makuuchi Basho. Kotoryu is taking pain-killing injections apparently every day. There he gets levered over against the arm and forced to put his hand down. So it's a neat win there by the fairly light Hayate Yumi. He's only 129 kilos, which is just about 20 stone. Higonumi, been in sumo a long time, came in the Makuuchi division in '93. Notches up good scores most times, never won a tournament prize, not an outstanding wrestler, but he does enough to stay in this top division. These two have fought 6 times, Kaiho's won 4 of them. Kaiho, though he's small, he can pull off some really neat throws sometimes, but there he gets moved over sideways, a Yorikiri to the side, and that was the third win for Higonumi. Second loss for Kaiho. Next bout, Wakanoyama, 28 years old, 162 kilos body weight. That's just over the average for these wrestlers. The average is about 155. And here fighting Tochino Nada. They fought so they've had 3 head-to-heads in the past. Wakanoyama's won 2 of them. Nice solid start there. It's Tochino Nada trying to pull the head down, and Wakanoyama bangs in the head there, and then a good solid thrust with 2 hands to Tochino Nada's body to drive him over the edge with Hoshidashi. So Wakanoyama comes from the great Musashigawa stable, which includes Dejima, Musoyama, Musashimaru and Miyabiyama. So he's got lots of good, big, heavy, strong training partners. Asanowaka doing his sumo now in his home prefecture. That's the reason for the noise of the crowd. So that was a rough start there. That's straight into Asanowaka's face. Oginishiki there manages to drive him out at the end, despite the desperate last second attempt by Asanowaka to save the action, save the match. So third win for Oginishiki and third loss for Asanowaka. And the two wrestlers make their final preparations. Toss a little bit of salt into the ring. It's the end of their 4-minute allotted time. Down go the hands. As you can see, they put one hand down, and that's the way they mostly go. They put one hand down, then they put the other one down really quick and jump off. It seems a very speedy way of doing it, but the referee objecting there. And there's another one. Well, there's the great Chiyono Fuji, now a judge, objecting to all that. The wrestlers do not like these rules which say they've got to put 2 hands to the ground, pause and then go. It robs them of that spring that they need at the start. Well, that was Tosanowumi pushing in really hard into Kaio. And then eventually he lost it, he slid away, and with a bit of help from Kaio, got slapped down with Skiatoshi. So Kaio, notching up his 3rd win there. He's got 1 loss so far, and that was the 3rd loss. So let's watch this one again. So Tosanowumi leads with a head straight to the opponent's face with a charge, not one to duck out of a charge. And there you can see the slippery surface of the ring a bit. You see his feet skidding backwards. Tries a pull down, starts to drive forward, and then he gets pulled down himself and flat down on his face and stomach into the hard abrasive surface of the dohyo, the sacred ring. Takanonami, 1-time Ozeki, not noted for his tachi-ai start. He's a very tall wrestler, no doubt finds it more difficult to get his 2 hands to the ground. Dejima on the left, once said that he finds sumo quite often unpleasant to do. There, a very decisive win against Takanonami. Got 2 arms round, 2 Morozashi holds there, 2 arms round Takanonami's middle, and drove him straight out. So that's Ozeki quality. Takanonami's the man on the downward slope from Ozeki. Miyabiyama, who's suffering a bit, he's had 2 losses so far. He's under, no doubt, tremendous pressure. He's just been promoted up to Ozeki against some opposition, and no doubt he feels he has to prove himself. Here fighting newcomer Tochinohana in his 2nd tachi-ai. Well, that was a hard start. And there you see that slippery surface working again. They cracked into each other, and then Miyabiyama, that's a bit of a tongue twister, that one, pulls back, and Tochinohana's feet skid away, and he drops down to the dohyo surface. Tamakasuga, who's noted for his tsuppari attacks, that's those whirlwind slaps pushes to the upper chest, throat, face. Fighting Chiyo Taikai, who comes out like a rocket, leads with a head. A hard case. Been in a punch-up before with Musoyama in the middle of the ring when this tsuppari turned into a lot of punching. Well, there's 2 slappers there, sumo slappers, having a go at each other, which Chiyo Taikai uses to his advantage when he eventually reverses direction and slapped Tamakasuga down with Hataki Komi. Musoyama sat out the last tournament due to a lower back injury. Not doing so well in this tournament. Looks though he's protecting his back. Here fighting Akinoshima, they've fought 23 times previously. Musoyama's won 14 of them. Pushing in hard there against Akinoshima. Extremely experienced wrestler as Akinoshima gets that low hand grip, the overarm grip on Musoyama's belt. It's got to be an overarm throw there, an Owatenagi. He's trying hard and Musoyama staggering off that attempt. Akinoshima follows up with a push. So Musoyama having to protect himself or defend against the overarm throw and the push. Between the devil and the deep blue sea there for Musoyama, and Akinoshima winning, taking his 2nd win. Let's watch that one again. So the 2 heads clash, you can hear that clash. And then fighting for the grip. Musoyama pushing into Akinoshima's face and throat there. Eventually Akinoshima gets his hand on, and that's where he starts working on that overarm throw. You can just see it on this side. But then he turns it into a push and drives Musoyama sideways out over the edge of the dohyo. Akibano coming out for his match against Tochiazuma in a moment. But the match right now is Tochiazuma just coming in to sit on his cushion at the side of the ring. Now it's Takanowaka in his 5th tournament, doing quite well, up near the top of the Maegashira rankings, had an 8-7 win-loss rate last time. fighting Musashi Maru, who's only fought once before, and it was Musashi Maru who won that one. So a nice spirited start by Takano Waka, but that galvanized Musashi Maru into speeding up his return thrusts, and that drove the young newcomer briskly out of the ring. Now Toki fighting Takanohana. These two have fought 6 times. Takanohana's won all 6 of them. Toki, a rough fighter, but not really very skillful against these experienced fighters like Takanohana. He should get disposed of pretty easily. It's about 20 kilos heavier than Takanohana, going for the face and head again, trying to deny Takanohana the belt, but he's got it, and that's enough for the big man. Well, he skidded over there. It's that slippery surface again. Takanohana just about got the belt, and he was being roughed up and pushed around. Interesting little mark there on Takanohana's right shoulder. That's sometimes that's called the Butsukari Tako, which means it's the shoulder they present to the young wrestlers when they whack in against them in training. The Butsukari is the crashing into each other type of training. Sign of a sumo man there. Now there you see, Takanohana gets his hand on the belt, starts to lose it though. His grip is broken by Toki, but as Toki's moving backwards, his feet skid away and he loses it. Now, interesting one here, Akibono against Tochiazuma. Akibono on average takes 5.3 seconds to win his bouts. His lower legs have got stronger, he's not so easy to sidestep now. Tochiazuma, though, on the other hand, is solidly gaining experience and strength. He's only 23 years old, he seems to have been around forever, but he's a 100% sumo man. Comes from a sumo family, father is an oyakata. Well, that one must have been under 5.3 seconds, I think. More like 2 seconds. Akibono disposing of Tochiazuma there without much ado. Well, Akibono always seems to come off these bouts covered in sweat. 5.3 seconds worth of work. You wouldn't think he'd sweat that much, but he obviously warms up properly before he comes out. Well, at the end of day 4, we got Akibono and Takami Sakari in the lead with 4 straight wins. Takanohana's got 1 loss, that's 3 wins and 1 loss. Musashi Maru the same, Chio Taikai same, Dejima, Kaio, Oginishiki all with 3 wins and 1 loss. And the 2 Ozekis, Miyabiyama and Mutsoyama, with 2 wins and 2 losses apiece. It's the Yumi Torishiki that closes the day's proceedings. We'll be back very shortly with more sumo. Don't go away. Of the Nagoya Basho. Here are the wrestlers being introduced individually. They're given their name, their sumo name, and where they come from, which prefecture, and also their rank, of course. That's Chio Taikai coming in, the last man in, and he'll be the first man off. Nope, got that wrong. Last man in, last man off. They file in order and file off in order. So at day 5, our first bout will be between Minato Fuji and Tokitsu Umi. So final preparations in the corner. Bit of salt. Some wrestlers chuck in a lot of salt, some hardly any at all. These two have fought 6 times previously, each has won 3 times. That was a hard slap, or that wasn't a head-to-head slap, it was more chest-to-chest. Minato Fuji in the dark purple mawashi. He's tries not to wear bandages. I've never seen him wear tapes or bandages on his body. A lot of the wrestlers are now wearing bandages, either around their wrists or on their fingers. But Minato Fuji seems to have avoided that. But there, Tokitsu Umi gets that low front belt grip and drives him backwards and out with Yorikiri. So Tokitsu Umi, much like, apparently, according to questionnaires by middle-aged women in Japan. Chio Tenzan against Takami Sakari. Robocop Takami Sakari. These two have never fought before, not surprising. Takumi Sakari's in his first Basho. Whoops, there you saw Chio Tenzan's legs start to go sideways in the splits. But before that happened, he managed to spin him over with the shoulder scoop throw Skuinagi. And let's watch that one again. So lots of grimacing there from Takumi Sakari. And there's the arm under the shoulder, the right arm under the shoulder. There it starts to spin there. And Takumi Sakari, in fact, wasn't so much sliding, but favouring his injured knee, I think. And that's fourth win for Chio Tenzan. Doing well so far, only one loss against him. Now Takuto Riki, extraordinary rikishi, came into pro sumo in 1983, got into the Makuuchi division in 1990, never missed a Basho in 17 years. Chiyonafuji objecting to the Techiai start. Kotoryu there with his much bandaged left injured leg, which he injured on day one. Lots of slaps there from Kotoryu. That's a nice turn by Takuto Riki. He almost did it. Spun on the edge, looked like he could maybe get back into the fight, but Kotoryu followed up too quickly and shoved him out with Oshidashi. So in their head-to-heads, that puts Kotoryu slightly ahead. 4 times he's beaten Takuto Riki. Takuto Riki's only beaten him 3 times. Kyokushuzan fights Higanoumi, both fairly light wrestlers. Higanoumi about 150 kilos. That's about 23.5 stone. Kyokushuzan some 15 kilos lighter. Kyokushuzan doesn't seem to be doing so well in this last half a year or so. Well, what happened there? Looked to me like Kyokushuzan's knee went down. Maybe not. No, he's got the referee's nod. And that's Kyokushuzan's first win. So he's had 4 straight losses hitherto. First win today. Second loss for Higanoumi. Now, Hayate Yumi, the great amateur stable. Nichidai fights Kyokuten Ho. Kyokuten Ho on the right there will be apparently going off to Mongolia after this Basho. They're very popular in Mongolia. All these sumo bouts are relayed over there and played on television. Because Mongolian's got a great wrestling tradition. It's got its own type of sumo, so-called. They fight on the earth in a circle. Rules are slightly different. So 2 wrestlers now, both locked in. Yotsu Sumo, 4 hands on the belt, and a determined shove there by Kyokuten Ho. Out and slightly sideways. That's the way a good Yori Kid is done. It's not a straight push out. It's always done slightly over to one side with the overarm pushing in towards the other side. Now Kotonowaka got a bit of a knee problem. A lot of them now with knee problems. Fighting Wakanoyama. They fought 3 times previously. Kotonowaka's won 2 of them. Wakanoyama sticking in there, determined not to let the bigger man push in backwards. Lots of pushes to the face and slaps. Driving him to the edge, and there's a push sideways. Kotonowaka loses it there. Starts to drop away sideways. Looks like there's a bit of blood on his upper part of his body. So that must be Wakanoyama's blood there. Normally they're very careful to mop the blood up in the dojo. It's regarded as a defilement of the sacred ring. So they mop it up pretty quickly with tissues, etc. Now Oginishiki, babyface, fights Kaiho. Oginishiki at 137 kilos. That's just under 22 stone. Kaiho at about 125 kilos. That's about 19 stone. Bit of difference for weight between them, but they're both skillful wrestlers. Not especially heavy. There's a nice slap there from Kaiho. He certainly does pull out some neat moves sometimes. He has to, of course. He's a lightweight wrestler. They have to be skillful. And he's an ex-amateur champion as well. Usually starts with his head very low and then does a lot of tricky moves from there on. Asanowaka complaining that he had lots of engagements before this Basho, kept him busy and out of training. Of course, these are great personalities in Japan. They in great demand. People invite them to parties, and they have wealthy patrons, etc. So if they're not careful, they can get diverted away from the business of sumo. Well, there, Tochinohana diverting him a bit with a few slaps. And that was the first much-needed win for Tochinohana. This is his second Makuuchi Basho. First one he did very well. He had 12 wins and 3 losses. But so far, 4 straight losses and just 1 win today. Tamakasuga against Tochiazuma. These two have fought 8 times previously. Tochiazuma won 6 of them. 2 heads cracked in there. So from the head slam into the face slaps, and then looking for the belts. In fact, neither wrestler looking for the belt, seemed determined just to keep it open. Push, pull, slap. No doubt Tochiazuma now be going for a quick pull down. Tries a slap. Now looking for the belt again. Same time driving in form. Has got a leg there. And forces him over the edge. Didn't really pick the leg up. Then just pushed him with his body and drove Tamakasuga over the edge. Some prize money there for Tochiazuma. Now, Takano Nami usually starts his tournaments badly. He's won 2 tournaments in the past, quite some time ago. He won 2 tournament prizes. He's not an outstanding, spectacular winner, but he wins enough to have been Ozeki for a long time. There you see him beating a new Ozeki, Musoyama, with a straight pull down on the back of the neck. So Power Angel Musoyama pulled down very neatly to the ground by Takano Nami. So 2 losses so far, but that's not unusual for Takano Nami. Quite often gets these losses early on in the Basho, makes up for it later on. So if he can get 10, 11, 12 wins this Basho, he could go back up to Ozeki. Now Dejima against Akinoshima. These 2 have fought 14 times before. Dejima's won 8 of them. But Akinoshima's good so far. He's beaten 2 Ozeki in this tournament. Dejima driving him to the edge, keeping on the edge. Akinoshima fighting back, recovers his balance. Very neatly done there. Face to face, the 2 wrestlers. Well, that was touch and go there. Looked to me like Dejima just about had it, but that was very close. That could have been Akinoshima notching up his 3rd win against an Ozeki in this Basho. Dejima, that woke him up a bit, I think. It's Kaio coming in for his bout against Akibono. Now this fight we're just about to see is between Tochinohana and Miyabiyama. Miyabiyama was taught by Musoyama's father when he was quite small. Now these 2 have fought, had 6 head-to-heads before. Miyabiyama's won 5 of them. Tochinohana had a very bad elbow injury last year, just about getting over it, but you still see it's bandaged up. Well, that's a nice swift change of direction there by Miyabiyama from push to pull. And that dropped Tochinohana down. 4 losses for Tochinohana and only 1 win so far. And 3rd win for Miyabiyama. Chio Taikai at 160 kilos. That's 25 stone. Fights Taka no Waka. He's still never fought before. Now that's a hard. Well, what happened there? Well, this is one of the touchy-eye problems I've been talking about previously. Once they slap into each other, and once the referee turns his fan, there's no matter, there's no stopping. So what happened there, I don't know. Takanawaka banged into Chio Taikai, slammed into him, that's the Atari. The referee turned his fan, and then Chio Taikai just stopped. Takanawaka woke up more quickly and then just powered him out. So that was an interesting one. Shows you how confused some of these wrestlers are getting with these new Tachiai rules the Sumo Association's insisting upon. Now, Akebono, Kaio. Kaio with one loss so far. Needs 11 wins this tournament to be promoted up to Ozeki. He won the last tournament, the last Basho. Akebono with 4 straight wins. These two have fought 28 times before, and Akebono has won 22 of them. So slowish start there by Kaio. Drives in hard, but overwhelmed entirely by the bigger Yokozuna. Kaio not in that one at all. Certainly Akebono, otherwise known as Chad Rowan, looking very confident there, not looking at all bothered. Although quite often Akebono is good in the earlier stages of a tournament. As he gets towards the end and he knows he's going to fight the other Yokozuna, he tends to falter a bit under pressure, but he hasn't been showing many signs of that. In recent tournaments, he's been steadily getting better and better results, up around the 13 win mark each time. Kaio extremely strong, once tested for 100 kilogram of grip strength. Some of the strength tests they do occasionally on these wrestlers. And now on to the next Yokozuna. Sashimaru, 230 kilos. His right knee's giving him problems because he thinks he's overweight. Wants to get down to 210 kilos. He's got 7 tournament wins to his credit, 4 of those from last year. Here fighting Toki, who he's fought 6 times and beaten 6 times. And 7 times. Sashimaru there helping Toki back after that win. Not too worried there. Mr. Pokerface, Otoboke-sama, as they call him in Japanese. Oshidashi win there for Sashimaru. Now, Tosanumi against Takanohana. They fought each other 23 times previously. Takanohana's won 16 of them, but interestingly enough, shows you how these statistics can be misleading. In the last 2 years, they fought 8 times, and Tosanomi's beaten him 5 times. So Tosanomi's got the current advantage in the last 8 fights. Well, Takanohana's condition has been up and down. He's getting back on form. Last Basho, we got 13 wins and 2 losses. That was a hard, bruising start there. He's giving the grand champion a lot of troubles. Slammed in hard, but Takanohana locks in on the belt. And that's it, that's it. Once he got the belt, he finished Tosanumi off. Well, that was a hard, rough start there. Takanohana had to struggle a bit for that one. So that was the 4th win for Takanohana and 1 loss. Well, that was a hard one right from the start there. Let's watch that one again. So there you see Tosanumi comes out hard, drives in with the head. You see him slap it into Takanohana's body. Same again, just by the right shoulder. Keeps aiming for that right shoulder, pushing into the face. But then Takanohana slowly closes in, gets the belt. See the belts with his left arm, then the right arm, and that's the beginning of the end for Tosanumi as he drives him back and out and over the edge with Yorikiri. So with the concluding bout at the end of day 5, Akebono's in the lead with 5 straight wins and a clutch of wrestlers at 4 wins. Takumi, Sakari, Takanohana, and Sashimaru. Stay with us, we'll be back very shortly. With day 6 of the Nagoya Basho. Akebono's in the lead with 5 straight wins. Takanohana a step behind with 4 wins and 1 loss. Sashimaru also 4 and 1. Dejima, the Ozeki, with 4 and 1, and Tochiozuma with 4 wins and 1 loss. But it's early stages yet in this Basho, and anyone could come through to win the Emperor's Cup. So into our first bout of day 6. It's between Tokitsumi of the Tokitsukaze stable. The boss of that stable heads the Sumo Association, that's Tokitsukaze. And Kyokushuzan from Mongolia. He's a good golfer, apparently, good horseman, which is what you'd expect from a descendant of Genghis Khan, or at least he's a Mongolian. And he's also good at snowboarding as well, apparently. But Sumo's been lacking a bit recently. These two have fought 4 times previously. Each has won twice. Tokitsumi there with that overarm grip, but towards the front of the belt. No doubt he'll try the Owate Dashinagi, that's the overarm push out. Well, nice little exchange of grips there. Kyokushuzan did a switch, but Tokitsumi took advantage of it and drove him out with Yorikiri. So that's the 3rd win there for Tokitsumi, and the 5th loss for Kyokushuzan. Now, Shikishima, 183 kilos. One of the third heaviest in this basho, about 28.5 stone. Fights Kotonowaka, some 13 kilos lighter. It's a big gap in weight from Shikishima up to Musashimaru and Akibono, some 50 kilos difference. There are the wrestlers in between. Here, Kotonowaka, 2 wrestlers puffing away as they both lock on. Now this is heavyweight stuff here. It's a lot of weight leaning into each other. Kotonowaka though with a bad knee. These two have fought 8 times previously. Shikishima's won 5 of them. And Shikishima with the head locked in just slightly to one side of Kotonowaka's face. And there was a supreme effort by Kotonowaka there. He turned over the heavier wrestler with a great surge of effort. Slightly over to the left, spun him over with the overarm throw, Watenagi. And that was Kotonowaka's 2nd win. And 5th loss for Shikishima. Aogiyama, Mr. Green Tree Mountain, fights Kaiho. Kaiho, meaning the Sea Phoenix. He's got interesting names, these. Kaiho's the son of a fisherman. He's named actually after his father's fishing boat. These two have fought 5 times before. Kaiho's won 3 of them. Now this is a good exchange of slaps and pushes there, at least to start with. Push to the face, Kaiho hanging on. Grimly another push to the face and a pull forward. Kaiho doing everything he could there to stop that onslaught. Back was almost bent double as Aogiyama pushed into him, but eventually, as Aogiyama released that push, Kaiho had to fall forward. That was a strong attack there by Aogiyama, noted for his throat attacks, the Nodowa Zeme attacks. Takutoriki, the man who cried when he won his tournament in March this year. There he is, driven straight back to the edge. Not a lot of slapping going on. Takutoriki noted for that, of course. But Hayate Yumi, the young one, the newcomer in his 3rd Makuuchi bout, driving him over the edge with Yorikiri. Now, Higono Umi from the Mihogaseki stable. His arm taped up, Chio Zanzang with his left wrist, both wrists taped up. It's interesting, if you look at the touchy eyes of these wrestlers, they're all pretty much the same, and they're going to continue to be the same, whatever the Sumo Association says. The amateur sumo people in Japan now start on the referee's signal, but somehow feel they've got it wrong. So Chio Tenzan winning his 5th bout there. And on to the next one. Oginishiki against Kotoryu. Kotoryu at 147 kilos against Oginishiki at 137. Well, there's a swift pull down there. Hikiotoshi. A lot of these throws look the same. Hikiotoshi, Hataki Komi, Tsukiotoshi. It will look like a slap down. But anyway, that one was pull down, Hikiotoshi. And Oginishiki gaining his 4th win, and Kotoryu his 3rd loss. Wakanoyama from the Musashigawa stable fights Kyokuten from Oshima stable. So good start there. Kyokuten Ho reaching over the top to get the overarm grip. Keeps the advantage there. Well, that was very neatly done. It's amazing how just slightly advantageous position grip is just enough to unsettle and unbalance the other wrestler, and they just work on that ruthlessly. They can feel when they're unbalanced. They rock them from side to side as they drive them out backwards. 5th win there for Kyokuten Ho. Toki is fighting Fangs. He's getting married next year in February. And Akinoshima, not noted for his tachi. You saw there, very slow start by Akinoshima. Manages to get round behind Toki. Sideways on. A Yorikiri win there, getting close to an Okuridashi win. Kinoshima has won 19 prizes, that's the record. That means he's had 19 good tournaments. You get prizes for technique, prizes for fighting spirit, prizes just simply for outstanding performance. So 3 types of prizes awarded every Basho, and Akinoshima's won 19 of them. Now Kaio fighting Tamakasuga. These two have fought 12 times previously. Kaio's won 8 of them. Kaio with 3 wins, needs 11 wins this Basho. He's got 2 losses so far, but he's certainly looking confident these days. He's got that left arm in. Can't quite get the belt. He's trying hard, gets his right hand on. That's enough, and spins him over with the overarm. Owatenagi throw there from Kaio against Tamakasuga. Tamakasuga with 6 straight losses. Not doing at all well this tournament. Last tournament he had 9 wins and 6 losses. Tochiazuma and Chio Taikai. These two have fought 12 times. Tochiazuma's won 8 of those encounters. Chio Taikai won the tournament in January '99. He's had a pretty on and off record since then. He has spent some time out of the ring due to an injury, and a bad wrist injury for a while as well. Chio Taikai winning there with his skidashi thrust out technique, and Tochiazuma gaining his 2nd loss. So 4 wins for Chio Taikai and 2 losses. Tochiazuma exactly the same now, 4 wins and 2 losses. So there's that determined pushing from Chio Taikai. It's a one-way street there for Tochiazuma. He's driven back and over the edge, more or less in a straight line. Now Asanowaka fights Musoyama. They fought 3 times. Musoyama's won all 3. And Musoyama's got 3 losses so far. He needs Kachikoshi at least. Well, certainly needs Kachikoshi to stay at this rank. He set out the last tournament. Well, there you see the confusion with the Tachi-ai. Eventually they get it right. Musoyama slightly back from the start line, the Shikiri-sen. Oh, and he's almost got sidestep there. Asanowaka almost slid him off, but Musoyama recovered and drove him out with a straight arm push. So it's 3rd win for Musoyama. Needs another 5 wins at least by the end of the tournament to gain his Kachikoshi. 5th loss for Asanowaka. Tochino Nada against Dejima. Dejima fights under his own name, doesn't have a sumo name. Wrestlers can do that if they wish. They've fought 7 times previously. Dejima's won 6 of them. Dejima been driven back to the edge there, recovers. Whoa, that was touch and go. Looked to me like Dejima touched down there on the edge, but it's up to the judges to object. They stick their hand up, and one of them has a video link. The chief judge has a video link, and they can always get an opinion from a replay of the match. Dejima wins that one though. That's his 5th win, and it's 5th loss for Tochino Nada. Yabiyama, who will come out hard and fast with 2 hands to the face, upper body. Tosanumi comes out with an enormous charge, leads with a head. These two have fought 6 times, each has won 3 times before. There's that head banging start from the 2 wrestlers. Tosanumi gains the advantage. You see floats Miyabiyama's body up a little bit higher, gets him teetering on the edge, and then drives him straight over with Yorikiri. Second win for Tosanumi. Third loss for Miyabiyama. Miyabiyama struggling to maintain his new rank. Now Takanohana fights Takanowaka. Now these have only fought once before. Takanohana's won it. You see that leg spread wide. This is not the beginning of their actual fight. It's not the final one. It's not time's up. It's just the penultimate crouch down. But now this is it. The referee turns his fan flat on towards the competitors. Takanohana looking fairly confident there. You see the fan flat on towards us in the camera, with the camera. Now Takanowaka playing Takanohana at his own game, just locking on the belt and hanging on the edge there, recovers from the edge. It's a brilliant fight by the young one, but eventually gets driven over the edge. There's a determined effort there by Takanowaka, but I must admit he was playing Takanohana at his own game. Looking a little bit roughed up there, but otherwise not too fussed by that encounter. And he takes a little bit of money. So a Yorikiri win there for the grand champion Takanohana against Takanowaka. Now the second of the Yokozuna coming up. This time fighting Tochinohana. Tochinohana, who scored 12 wins against 3 losses the last tournament. Before that, he was in the Juryo division. He's an ex-amateur champion. This is only his second Makuuchi tournament. There's 80 kilos difference between the two of them. That's roughly 12.5 stone body weight. Tochinohana there goes for the chest. It looked to me like Akebono put his hand down there. Couldn't quite see that. So certainly fighting in hard, and there's a powerful shove from the grand champion there. Tochinohana looking as though he suffered a bit when he hit the deck off that one. Well, very briefly there, Akebono was staggering and his long arms swung down to the ground, but the judges haven't picked that one up, so he didn't touch the ground. No doubt in the slow motion we might just see that. Let's watch this one again. So there, Tochinohana leads with the head just under Akebono's chin and then sidesteps him. Missed it, but it wasn't picked up by any of the 5 judges and the referee that surround the ring. And then eventually that wakes Akebono up and he just shoves him out ruthlessly, just down and out over the side. See what it's like to come off the ring. It's solid clay. So 6 straight wins for Akebono and the 5th loss for Tochinohana. Now the concluding bout of day 6 between Takanonami and Musashi Maru. Well, these two were rivals once when they were both Ozeki, but Musashi Maru edged ahead. He's won 7 tournaments since then. Takanonami's only won 2, and that was some time ago. They fought each other 34 times, but Musashi Maru's won 27 of them. So Takanonami locking in tight there with his long arms. And Musashi Maru struggling a little bit there. Pushing in hard, tries an overarm throw, but he's not noted for that one. And Takanonami trying the overarm, and that's enough. Pushes Musashi Maru over the edge. That's his 2nd loss for Musashi Maru, and 4th win for Takanonami. Well, that was a hard-fought match. Takanonami played that beautifully. He went straight for the belt, didn't allow Musashi Maru to come out with his powerful arms, pushing straight to his body, blocked off those arms, and then with a lot of manoeuvring around managed to nudge him over the edge just using one of his arms. So there's that long arms of Takanonami going in there. Musashi Maru goes for the belt as well. He's not noted for his belt techniques. He's more likely just to power out with his body and drive them backwards. And there Takanonami circling a bit backwards. There's an overarm throw attempt by Musashi Maru, and that's countered by Takanonami. Tries another one, and then a little shove there, up and out, and that's enough to send Musashi Maru just tumbling over the edge. So 4 wins for Takanonami and second loss for Musashi Maru. So at the end of day 6, Akebono still in the lead with 6 straight wins. Takahana a step behind with 5 wins. Dejima 5 wins. Kyokuten Ho 5 wins. Chio Tenzan 5 wins. Takami Sakari, the newcomer, with 5 wins. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with more sumo. Sumo training is very traditional. The main form of leg training is the shiko, the high leg stamps. There's one of them. And they manage to do several hundred of those every day. The arm training comes in the form of the teppo, or hitting the wooden pillar that's buried in the stable floor. That toughens up the palms of the hand. They do lots of sumo itself, either in the form of charging into one wrestler who braces himself in the center of the ring. It's called Butsukari Keiko, or actual sumo bouts where the winner stays on. The form of the warm-up and the training itself does not vary very much from stable to stable. It always starts very early in the morning and is followed by a massive meal, the chanko nabe. Many of the wrestlers do weights, but usually the weights are quite small. Well, let's get to the actual bouts. Akebono is in the lead with 6 straight wins, but it's early days. And here we start off with Shikishima and Kyokushuzan. These two have fought 6 times previously. Each has won 3 times. Shikishima on the right there, the bigger wrestler, 183 kilos. Had a bad knee during '99, seems to have recovered from that. But Kyokushuzan on the left there, can't work out whether to do Mongolian sumo or orthodox Japanese sumo. He seems to be caught in the middle and not doing too well. Only scored 5 wins last tournament. And that was his 6th loss this tournament, so not doing so well. Interesting newcomer now to the Makuuchi division, Henry Armstrong Miller, otherwise known in sumo circles as Sento Ryu, which was taken after the Japanese pronunciation of St. Louis, which is where he comes from, in Missouri. Well, there's a nice win by Henry, as he's known in the sumo world. Met Kyokuten Ho's charge and then just slapped him down with Hataki Komi. He's taken a long time to come up from the lower ranks. He had a very bad shoulder break when he was in the Makushita division, but eventually he's got through to the top division. Now Tokitsumi fights Kotoryu. These two have had 6 head-to-heads before. Kotoryu's won 4 of them. Slightly unusual move there. He's got Tokitsumi's head locked underneath. Doesn't seem to know quite what to do with it in that position. Well, it's not quite such a weak position as you would imagine. The wrestlers can lock into position under there. Anyway, he's got his head out now, and there's an overarm attempt. Throw from Kotoryu, runs him round in a circle, and then drops him down to the ground. So Uwate Dashinagi throw there from Kotoryu after the initial tie-up in that slightly unusual position, with Tokitsumi's head tucked under his armpit. Now Kaiho fights Chio Tenzan. These two have had 4 head-to-heads before. Chio Tenzan's won 3 of them. Not too much difference there. Well, there was a slap on Kaiho as he came charging out. Replies back on Chio Tenzan with similar sort of move. Kaiho's legs skid sideways there. It's a slippery surface, as we know already. And he's hustling Chio Tenzan to the edge. And there's a bit of a throw there. Oh, well, what happened there? Well, it looked to me like it was pretty evens. Oh, no, Chio Tenzan gets it. It seems that it was Kaiho's hair that touched down first. Well, this is unusual. Let's watch the action replay. It's one of the rules in sumo. If the hair touches the floor, it's a loss for the wrestler. Indeed, if the hair touches the tassels that hang over the ring, it's a loss. It happened once in the distant past, and then they had to raise the tassels higher to make it next to impossible. But let's just watch for Kaiho's hair there during all these struggles. There's the overarm grip from Chio Tenzan. And there's now let's watch the hair. Yes, it's the hair that touches down first, and Kaiho loses that one. So an interesting little view there of a slightly obscure rule. Now Hayate Umi, otherwise known as Naohito in sumo circles, fights Minato Fuji. They never fought before, not surprisingly. Hayata Yumi's only in his third Makuuchi Basho, and that was a nasty head-charging butt there from Minato Fuji. Straight to Hayata Yumi's upper body. A few blinks perhaps from that charge. But he weathered that charge well and just drove Minato Fuji straight back with Oshidashi. Now Higonoumi from the Mihogaseki stable fights Wakanoyama from the mighty Musashigawa stable. Quite a lot of weight difference between these two. 15-20 kilos. There's Higonoumi trying a grip round the neck there. But the Kubinagi, the neck throw, but his weight was floating up and Wakanoyama forced him out and down without too much trouble from that neck grip. So that was fifth win for Wakanoyama, been doing quite well. That's leveled his record, his win record that he had in the previous Basho when he only scored 5 over the whole Basho period. So obviously heading for a better performance this particular time. Now Kotonowaka, said to be Tochiazuma's least favourite opponent, here fighting Asanowaka. They fought 6 times previously. Asanowaka's won 4 of them. Kotonowaka seems to have the initiative there. He's pushing hard into Asanowaka. Doesn't give him a chance to settle down, and those tsupari thrusts and slaps forced Asanowaka over the edge of the ring. Skidashi win there. Thrust out win from Kotonowaka. Akinoshima, 153 kilos, that's just about 23.5 stone. Fights Oginishiki, some 20 kilos lighter. Some 3 stone difference between the two of them. Slowish start there from both wrestlers. Akinoshima, short wrestler, short but heavy. A lot of pounds per centimetre of height for him, low, near the ground. Both wrestlers there struggling for the advantageous grip. Akinoshima looks as though he's got the stronger position of the two. Hasn't got his right hand on though. And that would normally be the overarm. And there's Oginishiki almost forced him to the edge. Well, that was very nearly a win for Oginishiki. He had Akinoshima on the run there, but the veteran managed to do a reverse victory, gyakuten kachi as they call it in Japanese, and spun him out with Owate Nagi. Now Tochinohana, newcomer. This is only his second Makuuchi Basho. Did well last time, had 12 wins. Did a lot of training with Takanohana during the Natsu Jungyo, the summer tour. But Takanonami's from the same stable as Takanohana. No doubt they talked about this young wrestler. And that's a nice win there by Tochinohana. He had the 2 arms, the Morozashi 2 arms inside and round Takanonami's body. Takanonami was trying to counter that with the wraparound arm lock hold, the Kimidashi, but Tochinohana had it there and forced him out. That's his second win. He's had 5 losses so far, but the opinion of him is favourable amongst the sumo experts here. They say he's doing well. Tosanumi fights Tochiazuma. These two have had 16 head-to-heads previously. Tosanumi's won 11 of them. Very neatly sidestepped there. Tosanumi usually comes charging straight out, but a change there. But Tochiazuma read him well and eventually pushed him out from behind. Kuridashi win there by Tochiazuma. That's his 5th win, and that was Tosanumi's 5th loss. Both the wrestlers did well last Basho. Both scored 9 wins against 6 losses. Not doing too well this time. Tosanumi certainly isn't. Now Toki, with his distinctive sideburns. It's his trademark almost. Miyabiyama, well, the pressure's on this new Ozeki. He's had 3 losses so far. Is he good under pressure? Up to now, he's done extremely well. He hasn't had many Bashos in this top division, but each one he's performed very well. Well, that was very neatly done. A throat thrust under Miyabiyama's chin, and then as he leaned into it, as he resisted it, Toki just pulled the pressure away, and Miyabiyama bit the dust. Hikiotoshi win there for Toki, and his second win of this tournament. Chio Taikai, the eternal Great Sea, that's what his name means, fights Musoyama, Mount Muso. These two have fought 10 times, and Musoyama's won 8 of them, but he's got a bad back. This Basho manages to stop Chio Taikai's charge, but Chio Taikai revs it up, pushing in hard, not giving Musoyama a chance, and there's a pull down. Beautiful pull down there from Chio Taikai. Slowish start. Musoyama almost captured his belt and blocked off his thrusts and pushes, but eventually Chio Taikai opened up the slaps and the pushes and drove Musoyama straight back. So let's watch that again. There you see Musoyama gets his hand on the belt very earlier on, but he gets broken by Chio Taikai, who then immediately starts speeding up the pushes and the thrusts, driving Musoyama all the while back. Brief recovery there, gets going again. There's that slap to the face, clash of heads as well, and there's the pull down at the end, the Hataki Komi that drops Musoyama to the ground. 4 losses now for Musoyama against 3 wins. So the new Ozeki not doing too well, but time yet to get his Kachikoshi, which will maintain him in his rank. Takanohana coming in, ready for his bout against Kayo. That promises to be a good one. Now Dejima fights Takanowaka. Dejima was doing a lot of what they call Sambangeko with Miyabiyama. They're the same stable, they just fight each other endlessly. But Dejima ran out of steam during a lot of that. Stamina not meant to be too good, but he's doing better in this tournament than Miyabiyama is. So that was a 6th win there for Dejima, beating Takanowaka with Oshidashi. Of course, these wrestlers don't need too much stamina as such. The bouts are over very quickly. They just need explosive power and suppleness, and speed, of course. Bouts, on average, don't last much more than 8 or 9 seconds. Now, Musashi Maru fights Tochino Nada. They've fought 8 times previously. Musashi Maru's won 7 of them. Cumbersome start there by the big Yokozuna, but now he's locking in on the belt. Tochino Nada trying the stomach thrusts, but his stomach's a bit smaller than Musashi Maru's. Fighting back gamely there, turns him over to one side. But Musashi Maru just using his massive bulk, 230 kilos, that's 36 stone of him, just locking on tight, and this is what saps the smaller wrestlers. That massive weight leaning on them, it's like the weight of 3 grown men leaning on them. And there it goes, a nudge over the edge, a Yorikiri win for Musashi Maru. 5th win for Musashi, and 6th loss for Tochino Nada. Game fight there by Tochino Nada, but he was some 70 kilos lighter than his opponent, nearly 11 stone lighter than big Musashi Maru. Now, Kinta, or Kayo rather, Kayo or Kinta as he's known in the sumo world, fights Takanohana. These two have fought 34 times previously. Takanohana's won 23 of them. But Kayo's on a bit of a roll. He won the last tournament. He's been promoted up. Well, he's not been promoted up. He's now looking for promotion to Ozeki, and also another tournament if he can get it. Takanohana with 5 wins. Crosses the line ahead of Kayo. Kayo locks in. Takanohana starts driving him to the edge. It's looking bad for Kayo there. Leg behind, a kirikaishi attempt by Takanohana. Kayo fighting back. Starts driving the Yokozuna to the edge. Chasing him around. Desperation there by the Yokozuna, and he's slapped down as Takanohana hits the deck with a mighty throw from Kayo. Well, that was touch and go for a bit there. It looked like Takanohana was going to beat Kayo, but that's Kayo's 5th win. And he's looking comfortable about it. And he collects the prize money from the Gyoji, the referee, and there's his stable boss looking on. And Takanohana not looking too happy. Well, let's watch that one again. It was touch and go for both of them. An early clinch and into the belts. Takanohana then breaks the grips and starts driving Kayo backwards, close to the edge. Kaio responds by driving the grand champion back. And then they open up again, and then he starts chasing the grand champion, driving him around the ring. And there Takanohana starts to turn. Now that's a mark of desperation. And then Kaio gets his knee behind Takanohana's and dumps him down. Well, that was a heavy throw for the grand champion. It's not a soft landing here. No sprung floors in sumo. It's solid, hard-packed clay. Now, Akebono, 230 kilograms. Well over 500 pounds of body weight, fights Tama Kasuga. A mere 80 kilos lighter. That's 12.5 stone lighter. See the difference in size there. Tama Kasuga drives his head into Akebono's chest. And there's some massive thrusts from Akebono. Two-handed thrusts. Morotsuki. And that just sends Tama Kasuga flying over the edge of the ring. Akebono still in the lead with 7 straight wins. So at the end of day 7, we see this man here, Akebono, in the lead with 7 straight wins. One step behind, we got Dejima, Chiotenzan, Takami Sakari, all with 6 wins and 1 loss. And then after that, Kaio, Takanohana, Masashi Maru, Chiyotaike, Tochi Azuma, Wakanoyama. But stay with us. We'll be back very shortly, just after the break.